Welcome to Science Sunday Online. Today we're going to do a physics experiment, and it's a very simple 3-piece CD hovercraft. For this science experiment, you're going to need an old CD that you don't mind getting scratched up a little bit, a balloon, and a cap from a water bottle. And this can come from a water bottle, or it can even come from soap dispenser bottles. Okay? And you'll also need a glue gun, a hot glue gun. You could use any kind of glue, but hot glue works best. Okay? And then optionally, you can have some things to decorate your CD with. And I also have scissors and a 2 by 8.5 inch cardstock. Okay, so first you're going to decorate. Okay, so make sure when you decorate, you don't decorate inside of this circle right here. That's going to be important later. Okay, so we're just going to stick a couple stickers on here. Okay, and then draw a smiley face. Okay, now once you finish decorating your CD, okay, you're going to take the bottle cap. You're going to see it's going to go right on top right here in the middle of the CD. Okay, so you're going to take your glue gun and put a layer of glue around the bottle cap. And here might be a time to ask your parents for help if you don't have, if you need help. You need help with the glue gun. Okay? Right? And then push it in the middle. Okay? Make sure it's sealed, and then wait a couple seconds for it to dry before you move on. And just so that air does not get out, I'm going to put another thin layer of glue. Once you know it's dry and can tell that it sticks really well, okay? Next we're going to make the collar for this, and the collar is optional, but it will be very important later on as we see. So take your 2 by 8.5 cardstock, okay, and cut just a small little slit midway through on this side, then flip it around, and on the opposite side cut the same slit. Okay. Now you're gonna put it together like this. Okay. This makes a little circle collar shape. Now you're gonna take the nozzle of your balloon and put it over your bottle cap. Okay. Make sure the bottle cap is still closed. You can let it go, and no air should be escaping from your balloon right now. And then you're going to take your collar, you can detach it like so, and wrap it around your balloon, and then attach it together again. Okay? Now we're going to take our hovercraft on the test drive. So what you're going to do is you're going to push your collar over until you see the end of the bottle cap. Okay, right there. And you're going to pull up on the bottle cap to open it. You're going to hear air rushing, so you want to be quick. Alright, and now you can push your disc around anywhere and it glides as if it's on ice. You can do it however many times you want. Just dismantle it, blow up your balloon, make sure your bottle cap is closed, and do it all over again. fun, let's see how this hovercraft actually works. So when you blow up a balloon, you build up a lot of stress inside that balloon, and the air inside of the balloon wants to escape. The only means of escape is through the nozzle right here. But since this cap is closed right now, the air in the balloon cannot get anywhere. So that's why it stays like this when the cap is closed. When you open the cap, the air in the balloon begins to flow through the cap. And since the cap is a very small hole, it's going to control the amount of air that flows out. So there's very low pressure air flowing through the CD. So when the air goes through the CD, it's going to hit the table. The air is not going to go through the table like that. Instead, it's going to find a means of escape. And since the CD is circular and is very thin and the weight in the CD is evenly distributed, the air is going to escape in all directions like that. This causes what we call a cushion of air between the CD and the table. So the hovercraft is actually floating on a very, very thin cushion of air. What does this have to do with the movement of the hovercraft? To answer that question, we have to talk about friction. Friction is the force that opposes movement. When something is moving across a surface, there's always going to be a force that moves in the opposite direction in which the object is moving. The force of friction is dependent on the surface of which the object is traveling on, and different surfaces have a different amount of friction. The more friction there is, the easier it is to stop. Friction is dependent on the surface in which an object is traveling on. So when you're running across a wooden floor with socks on, it's a lot harder to stop than when you're running across a carpeted floor. That's because the force of friction on a carpeted floor is a lot higher than the force of friction on a wooden floor. So in this case, when we look at the hovercraft is not in contact with the table at all because it's floating in air. So since air has very, very, very little friction compared to the friction of the surface of the table, the hovercraft is able to move freely, and since there is very little friction, it's going to be very hard to stop. That's why when you push a hovercraft in one direction, it's just going to keep traveling in that same direction and not stop until you stop it yourself or it hits another object. Even though a hovercraft is floating in the air and experiences little friction, the surface is very important in this process. Because the surface is very flat and smooth, the air that goes through the CD hits the table, and the table is able to evenly distribute the air in all directions. In other surfaces, it is more difficult for the air to be distributed evenly. I challenge you to see if it will still float in different surfaces. In this experiment, we used a table, so let's see if you could make the hovercraft float on wood, on carpet, on glass, or on any other surface that you could find. And let me know which surfaces work and which surfaces don't. That's it for this video. I hope you had fun creating your hovercraft, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your Science Sunday.